Out here doing today. My name is Kieran. I'm one of the Save Our Children Army. Okay, we travel around all over London, to various towns, raising awareness of what is actually affecting children all around the UK. We can only do around London and them areas because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of towns to cover. Save Our Children Army, we expose any type of abuse that affects a child, okay? This could be online grooming. This could be social services have lied in a report to take somebody's child. Believe it or not, it happens. You're going to hear stories today from people like myself that will be bringing the truth to you guys in Crawley. We're not here to cause you any alarm, harassment or distress. What we want to do is we want to arm you guys with the information that we research time and time again, and our research is always backed up with evidence, okay? Right, I've just got to take a deep breath because something, it's quite emotional really. A guy released a music track and we're going to be playing the music track in a minute. But this guy, along with Skinny Man, Joe Blow, who's unfortunately not here anymore. Joe Blow, Skinny Man, and my friend Darren Ford, 4D, they released a tune in relation to Kafka's social services stealing children up and down the country, and they're doing it for profit. It's all about the straw man as well, right? So what I'm going to do is going to play the tune, and afterwards, if everyone can please do the decent thing and give us 1 moment of silence. Is 1 minute. That's all it will be, is 1 minute. I think Joe Blow deserves the respect of everybody for the work that he was willing to put in to help others. He was a parent like myself, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to play his tune from Britain. Please listen to the words and listen carefully. And like I said, once the tune has finished, we are going for a 1 minute silence in respect of Joe Blow. His real name is Rob Picton. Ready?
I'm going through this. You know, it's funny you shoot that. It's sad.
Sorry.
That is very true. Very true. 100%. I support you guys.
If you want to stick around, or you want to go around the shop and then come back.
When your parents registered your birth, they actually created a company and handed ownership of that company and you over to the state.
You're just gone. A mother sitting in frustration in the depth of desperation, facing the situation of family separation, anticipation, total isolation, victim of incrimination with no justification, shocked with fear and character assassination, crushed into intimidation and social suffocation, sleep deprivation but still fighting with determination, gagged by the powers that be, can't even make a statement. They made a recommendation for a parent assessment that she's never gonna pass. A child's an investment. They blamed her mental health but they caused the depression. Lies being told, kids are going missing with no question. Misrepresented even by her own legal team. She's living a nightmare, only wishing it was a dream. She feels unheard and unseen. They made her feel unworthy and unclean ever since they intervened. Too many kids are being taken, breaking hearts like glass. The systems are fast, too quick to harass. We need to protest en masse and put an end to this fast. Expose the SSLA and CAP. We need to stand up for the ones that they broke. The ones that got controlled and told them they had no hope. The ones that they provoked to end their life on a rope. It's time to stop forced adoption, man. This country's a joke. The corporation takes control of your soul. Create a straw man and you're a slave that's owned. So anytime the feds wanna run in your home, they'll take away your kids and tell you they're not your own. This is a vital stand. I make the mic go bang. If the truth be told, I wanna fight those man. Lie low fam, I got those hydrograms. I be meditating hard about those psychos plans. Fight those hands. to feed us crumbs. We graft in the streets to feed our loved ones. We breathe in the slums, we ain't got trust funds. Kids stabbing up each other and they got our blood runs. The truth must come, I'm still a freedom fighter. My pen is my weapon, I'm a seasoned writer. We're living in the jungle with the cheaters and liars. They wanna make us suffer and bleed us drier. We took away our liberties, couldn't see our family. Locked in our homes, people dying, it's a tragedy. Trapped in a world, pure suffering and agony. We're living in a war zone, everyone's a casualty. They're selling off our babies, saying we are crazy. So much corruption, and modern day slavery. It was crack in the 80s, wash coke for the gravy. We fight for the scraps when they drive a Mercedes. I laugh at delusion, they cause the confusion. Governed by their greed, bringing legal intrusions. Be under no illusion, there is no exclusions. Creating a problem to force their solutions.
The corporation takes control of your soul. Create a straw man and you're a slave that's owned. So anytime the feds wanna run in your home, they'll take away your kids and tell you they're not your own. Low deal title along with the sovereign right to rebuke your presumptions that I subscribe to. Your legal fictions you think gives you the right to the custody of me and my child too. May I remind you, I'm not dead, not lost at sea. Competent enough to know that I'm alive and free. Your corporation is all dead, speaks to me. Blacksmith's law dictionary legally. If you're a person or you've got a personality in court, you're a monster of the sea. So what do you see? Do you recognize the man in me? With your wig and the uniform of a priest? Why is the unicorn chained to the foot of a beast? Why you think you're sitting higher than me or overstand me? I'm God's child, there's no way you ever can be. Any authority over me or my family, my bloodline, my family tree, my seed, my fruit that belongs to me. Separated from their homies where they long to be. Feel way beyond wrong to me. So now it's on for me. You're gonna get what you wanted to see. For the way you've been punishing me, feeling defeated. Now I'm gonna find the might to fight you. You fired the first shot, so now pass the rifle. The corporation takes control of your soul. Create a straw man and you're a...
Can I ask everyone now for 1 minute of silence, please? This is for Rob Picton, who lost his life in the last couple of weeks, and Rob Picton was also known as Joe Blow. We wouldn't have that track if it wasn't for Joe Blow, Skinny Man, and 4D. Thank you. 1 minute.
Everyone, for that moment of silence is very much appreciated. We wouldn't have had that beautiful bit of music exposing the corruption that we've got going on within the government. I'm going to switch back to the microphone now.
Thank you so much for everyone that participated in... Right. thank.
Is that you?
Thank you. Right.
Disconnect it, turn off Bluetooth.
Broken Britain, you will find that on YouTube, and that is the music that we just played. Rob Picton, a guy that was known as Joe Blow, lost his life recently, and we wouldn't have that. So I thank him, I thank 4D, and I thank Skinny Man for all the work that they've done for trying to give parents the voices up and down the country. We try and do that ourselves as a Save the Children Army. We come out and we try and educate many parents and many adults in the street that wouldn't necessarily know this or what's actually happened or what actually happens to many parents up and down the UK, right? I wouldn't have known this if it hadn't happened to me, and 2019 I found out I was going to become a father, right? It was summer 2019, I had no direction in life, but all of a sudden I got the news that I was going to become a father. That was something that then gave me a purpose, okay? Lo and behold, it got confirmed, and the day it was confirmed, I had a nasty accident on a bike to the point I broke both my arms and I had a bleed on my brain, okay? There was a chance, obviously, that I wouldn't have seen my little girl born if it had gone the wrong way. Right. Social services got their heads involved once there was a confirmation of pregnancy, and like many of you guys, I thought, you know what, I've done nothing wrong, so what have I got to worry about? What are they actually going to do? What is this coming in for? Well, when I went in there and I had a little chat with the social worker in the office, and I went in, it was a conveyed chat. We've gone in, we've had a conversation. So basically, when we've gone in for the conversation, I thought he was going to be asking me a load of questions about myself, my partner, but he was not interested in myself or my partner. All they was interested in is right, guys, so basically what happened was the social worker invited us in for a chat. I went in for the chat and I was surprised he wasn't interested in me or my partner, only interested in that we've got a baby on the way, right? I've got long-term PTSD, I have a number of other issues as well, which basically comes to the attention of basically with the social services. When you go and basically confirm at the hospital that you're pregnant, the woman goes to go and confirm it, they do a multi-agency protection, and they go to your doctors, they go to your psychiatrists, anyone that's had any dealing with you. So if you've had a mental breakdown 5 or 6 years ago, there's a chance that you're going to flag up on the system as somebody that needs to be looked at, and they need to explore your background to see whether you are the right person to father or mother a child. Right. That happened on the initial thing, but I thought, you know what, there's nothing to worry about, right? There shouldn't be nothing to worry about, so I've left there. I thought, you know what, it's not going to be much more to this. Well, 4 weeks later, the social worker turns up at my house. This social worker, his name is Mr. Jeffrey Mealin. I will name him, I name them every time. Not Mealin, sorry, I always bloody do this. I always do this. My good friend is Jeff Mealin, right? But I have Jeffrey...
It's something about Crawley because he done that last time.
I've done this last time I was here as well. Can you actually believe that? I actually done that last time. Jeffrey Clifford Williams, he actually worked for Brighton Social Services currently now. Before that he was at Eastbourne. Before that he was at Croydon. And before that he was at Sutton, and that's where he destroyed my family. Jeffrey Clifford Williams come to my house. Right, he come, a surprise visit, come and knocked on the door and said the report is going to be finalised for you tomorrow. how does Dad feel about becoming a dad? Is Dad ready? Is Dad ready to actually be a dad? How's Dad feel about this? How does Dad feel about that? And I thought it was a bit weird. This is the first person that's ever called me Dad, right? My child's not even born yet, but the first person that's ever called me Dad is a social worker. So I thought, oh, I don't know whether to take that as an insult or do I take it as a bit of a boost because I'm now going to be a dad. But no, I couldn't be no more wrong. The social worker said his report's going to get delivered to us the next day, but he finishes work that day, as like in today he would finish. He's no longer at my local authority. What people don't realise is when a social worker suddenly just leaves a local authority, his evidence cannot be challenged because he's no longer there to answer questions in relation to it. So you can't just put him on the stand in the court because he's no longer part of that local authority. He now works
Crawley
for somebody
Town
else.
Centre.
My social worker, he was a agency social worker. By agency, he wasn't held down by the one local authority. He wasn't just held down by that. He was answerable to the agency. This social worker could tell lies in his reports, and believe you me, I read the reports to the point that I thought, hold a minute, who are you actually writing this about? And why do you manipulate something that's already quite bad to the level that you really have to go? And I didn't realise the only thing they was really interested in was removing a child from day dot, right? This is what they was working towards. This isn't lies, right? They was working towards taking my child. From before my partner had even had my child, they was working towards that. And that's because I have PTSD and I come from a criminal lifestyle many, many years ago. My life of crime was given up in 2017, and I'm still straight and narrow now. Right. The case went to court after my daughter was born. Everyone remembers lockdown day. You remember when they come out to clap? That first night they come out to clap. That was on the Thursday evening. My child was 5 days old at that point. The following day, which is the Friday morning, my partner and my child went into a foster placement, a living adult foster placement where an adult can go and live in and mum could be monitored with child. Bear in mind, lockdown kicked in for absolutely everybody. Nobody got to see their families around that point, so everyone can relate to that to a big degree. How many of you guys wanted to go and see your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother, but you wasn't allowed to because the government was telling you you wasn't allowed to? Well, can you imagine how social workers played with this with a newborn child? Can you imagine how a social worker manipulated it into a way that it was now a foster prison? My partner wasn't allowed to have contact with her family. She wasn't allowed to be in communication. Nobody was allowed to come and see her. Any phone calls was logged. Anything she'd done was logged. She was treated like a prisoner, right? She signed the Section 20 to go into the foster placement to be with my child, right? I watched all this going on WhatsApp. I had to watch my child grow through WhatsApp. That's how real this situation is. Anyway, Jeffrey Williams has done that much damage, right? I'm going to rewind a bit when he first initially come to us. When he wrote that report, because bear in mind, Jeffrey Williams was only involved for 4 weeks, but in them 4 weeks, he wrote a report on myself. He wrote up, I was an alcohol dependent. Do you want to know the truth?
Do that for
I don't hardly drink at all, and if I do, it's once in a blue moon, I might have 1 or 2 pints. That doesn't sound like somebody's got an alcohol dependency, okay? What he suggested was, because he asked me, do I drink? I turned around and said to him, no, I don't drink, but I did have a drink the other day. Right, my little cousin was murdered. in 2015. In 2019, my cousin's killer was arrested, captured and brought before the court at the Old Bailey and put on trial. The trial went on for about 6 weeks. The day the trial ended, they sentenced the man to 26 years in prison, life sentence. I'm sitting at home after a hard day's work scaffolding, sitting at home, I'm eating my dinner. This is the alcohol dependency part, right? BBC News comes on, 6 o'clock. They said they're going to show some distressing images on CCTV. I sat there at 6 o'clock in the evening and I see the CCTV of the bar where my cousin was murdered. The CCTV had been shown all the way through the trial, so I didn't think I'm going to get shown anything different. But what actually happened was, they actually showed the CCTV all the way to the point that my cousin unfortunately lost his life. My cousin's throat was cut down to his chest, a 50 centimetre cut. I chose to ring my friend that day, and I rang up my friend and I said, Reese, mate, I need someone to talk to, because this is too much. I've just seen the CCTV of my cousin being murdered. Well, because I told the social worker that I went and met my friend, had a couple of pints with my friend to go and have a talk with him, because at the end of the day I needed somebody to talk to. My cousin's killer had just been given 26 years. I don't think that's long enough, but I'm also just seeing my cousin bleed to death in a video. So yes, I went and had a couple of pints. I got up the next morning and I went to work. However, a social worker suggested I'm now an alcohol dependent because I chose to have a drink after seeing something as graphic as that. And that's my loved one. That's not just somebody in the street to see it happen to. That's my fucking flesh and blood. And I did swear that, and I'm going to apologise, but that is the truth of it. Too many of these kids are killing each other on the streets today. My cousin was one of them people that have unfortunately lost their life to a reckless act of knife crime. That's my whole family destroyed. But then I've got a social worker using that against me, right? Because I chose to have a drink. So now I'm an alcohol dependent, apparently. I don't drink. Anyone that really knows me, if I come to a pub with you, I might have 1 pint now and again. That could be 6, 7 months, 8 months, maybe a year down the line. I have no interest in it. I do it to be sociable. That is not doing it because I'm a dependent. Well, that's number one thing that he done to me to try and destroy me having a connection with my own child. I didn't realise when he was writing the report what he was actually doing, and him coming saying to me about how does dad feel about this and how does dad feel about that, I didn't really know. But you know, when that report landed up on my doorstep the following morning, and I thought to myself, hold on a minute, he's writing me up as an alcohol dependent, and the only thing he could write that over, because I was admitted to having a drink after I've seen my cousin basically murdered in front of the whole nation. It's basically played across the BBC News. My aunt chose to play that because she wanted to send a message to all the people that are participating in knife crime so they can see the true reality and the devastation it causes. So the social worker, they've manipulated that, and I never thought they could, because at the end of the day, only a sick person could ever manipulate something like that to their advantage. I read the reports. There was a number of things. There was a report apparently that my partner's mum used to beat my partner. It's never ever been said, it's never ever been claimed, but this was just something else for a string in their bow to keep my child out of our arms. It was basically set up in a way that our daughter would not come home to us. Yeah? Now, People will never understand how that feels. It's like my daughter's now 5, right? There's a chance I'm not going to see her for another 13 years. There's a chance I'm not going to ever see her again. She was adopted the day after her 2nd birthday. And it was lies and corruption that got my child away from my loving arms. Right? That's the truth of it. My daughter's 5 years of age and I can't protect my child like any parent in the street would love to protect their child. Right? I'm aware of so much threats to children because what happened in my situation is what opened my eyes to the work now that I do. And the work that I do is not just what I do here. I do a lot of other stuff behind the scenes to protect children, right? And the reason why I choose to do that is I can't protect my child. And because I can't protect my child, what my intention is throughout my life, it's like a calling for my life. I'm here to protect everyone's child, not just my own. If I could protect my child, I would. But if you're known to be a threat to a child, I will expose you. If you're somebody who wants to speak to a child online, I will come and catch you. I don't care, right? End of the day, when it comes to the protection and innocence of a child, I will do whatever I can to make sure that child is safe. Now, if you are a parent and you're putting your child at risk, I will still make sure that child is safe. I will lift heaven and earth to make sure that child is safe. And that's because there's many of us adults that are walking around today that no one didn't make sure was safe, right? I can say that because I was one of them. Something happened to me 40 years ago. I'm 46, hasn't left me, right? So that's why I do what I do. But I'm going to expose a little bit more now. When the case went to court, after 2 years, it was backwards and forwards in and out of court. The judge was told by an independent social worker, who we instructed, an independent social worker said, oh, we need another 12 to 18 months monitoring, and Maya Bella is 2 years of age now. Maya Bella means my beautiful, right? That is my daughter's name. Right? So basically, went in front of the court, independent social worker suggested 12 to 18 months, which then put my daughter out of my timeline. I have not been in trouble, I've not had no mental breakdowns, I've had nothing go on. This is what they wanted to monitor me for 12 to 18 months. This was 3 years ago, right? It kills me every day because I didn't deteriorate like they could suggest. I didn't deteriorate. I've gone through one of the worst things that any parent could ever go through. I've had somebody tell lies to steal my child and remove my child from my loving arms. But not only from my loving arms, my child has got a sister and brother, right, who now miss their little sister. My partner, my child's mum, she misses her daughter, right? I've had to deal with my partner trying to harm herself because of what we've gone through where she can't take it no more. I've had to deal with everything when it comes to this. These social workers have a lot of explaining to do, and a lot of people, they'll sit there and hear me, they'll think I must have done something wrong. Let me tell you now, I've done nothing wrong. Yeah, do you have a right for cause for concern? Yeah, I've got mental health. So it is a cause for concern, something to be explored. Not to stop me from being the loving parent that I should be. Why does it take lies to remove my child? At the end of the day, if it was the truth, I wouldn't be out here screaming and shouting, right? You have to, if you've got to tell lies to remove somebody's loving child from their arms, what is that? That's abuse, right? From the moment it's a lie to remove the child, it's not about protecting the child, it's about abusing the child. That is what the social workers are complicit in doing. Because any time a social worker is sitting in their office and they know there's corruption going on within the case. And believe you me, I'm not the only person in the country that's out talking about this. There is thousands of people all claiming on social media that a social worker has told lies to their loving child. Now when you look around and you've got your child in your loving arms, just close your eyes 1 second, right? Just close your eyes 1 second and think about this. When you open your eyes, a social worker has told lies and your child's no longer there no more. How are you going to be feeling inside? This is not as if your child to death or anything like that. This is a child that is lost because somebody has stopped the child. This is because, change the microphone. Right, change the microphone, that was a bit breaking up. So basically, social workers are lying all over the country. They are lying to... This is doing amazing, right? It's not. So basically, guys, I lost my child to forced adoption. As adoption without the parents' will, we did not consent to that. One child every 20 minutes is stolen and taken and placed for adoption. For £36,500 of an interagency fee, and basically it's fueled by greed. It's not fueled by protection, which it should be. It's actually being fueled by greed. And you only have to follow the money. I can tell you about 3 people that run up to 50 private adoption agencies. Okay? That's Jonathan David Clark, there's a Joanna August, and there's another one who's under a fictitious name, Harrison Clark Secretarial. Right? But between the 3 of them, they run 58 private adoption agencies that they run between them. Right? If anyone wants to tell me there's children,
Why is it doing it?
It's the weather interfering.
So people try to say there's no money in children. Why is there 58 companies being run by 3 people that it's all supposed to be about child protection? If anyone tells me there's no profit in children, come and see me at the end. I will show you where the profit lies. I'm not here lying to you today. My name is Kieran. Thank you very much.
Do you want me to finish that?
Yeah, finish that. Finish that, whatever you do there.
That's Kieran.
Oh, is it? Alright.
Kieran, what do you want me to do with this back? You're recording your live.
Sorry.
I'm just going to end it.